Hi there, welcome to Deep Dive. I'm Kevin Benedict, and I want to thank everyone out there for joining us today. I want to introduce my friend Thimot. Tom,
how you doing, Kevin? Good to see you again.
Yes, thank you for having me over here. I hear it's time to celebrate here at Socure.
Yeah, we're popping some champagne corks today. We've raised a Series C round, $30 million.
Wow. So I want you to tell me here, for those that aren't familiar with Socure, tell us about what, in a nutshell, what Socure is all about, and why are the investors interested in you guys?
Absolutely. Well, with digital transformation happening in the marketplace, everything is more and more digital, and the ways that you used to identify people, primarily through credit information, hey, what's my name, what's my email address, is my address correct, what's my social security number, those necessarily aren't the most accurate way to identify people any longer. And with the advent of machine learning and data science, it's now possible to look not just at a few static data elements and some rules that go back and forth, but to also say, what is the digital footprint that this person is providing? And can I use all that digital information that we have to determine concretely that this is Kevin and I can accept Kevin as a customer, as a consumer? And that transformation and the fact that machine learning and data science is more accurate than a human or rules-based analysis is one of the things that investors are excited about.
So what are they betting on? What are the kind of the macro trends that are going, because they picked you guys and they said, we want to invest in you because you're going the right direction with the trends. What are the investors thinking when they invest with you guys?
Well, first they're thinking that one of the most critical relationships that an entity has with a consumer or constituent is that first time they interact. So the first time you don't know that Kevin is Kevin, and you have to determine concretely, because if the person is either a fraudster trying to represent themselves as Kevin, or you can't comply with Patriot Act and other requirements for knowing exactly who your customer is, KYC, you're not going to be able to compete as fast as everyone else. When I'm applying as a consumer to do business with you, the entity, I want to put my data in as quickly as possible. I want to hit submit, and all I want to see on the screen is welcome. And data science and machine learning allows that first interaction to be the word welcome, or conversely to be, wait a second, you're not Kevin, you're pretending to be Kevin, you're a fraudster, and I'm not going to open a relationship with you. But if you don't start the relationship right, you may never have that customer. And the origination is by far the most important relationship because it's the first interaction.
Okay, so you're facilitating the ability to have relationships and good relationships in digital environments. What is the problem today? Give us the problem space. What's stopping companies from doing that right today?
Well, there's been a number of large data breaches, and they're well publicized. There's more and more of them every day. Basically, all of our personal information, our names, our phone numbers, our email addresses, our social security numbers if you're in the United States, identity numbers, they've all been compromised. They're all out on the dark web. And so just putting those pieces of information into an application doesn't mean you are who you say you are. And capturing that third-party fraud, that's where I'm pretending to be Kevin. Capturing and making sure that you don't do business with those people so you don't have the loss that's associated with someone stealing that identity is a very large problem. And the incumbents today, they simply use that credit header information, they verify it, they apply some static human-based rules to it. It does this equal that, if then else, as opposed to looking at the data holistically, and not just the data elements that are given to us, but hundreds or thousands of other digital data elements that we emit every day in our everyday life, and look holistically with data science and machine learning to predict that Kevin is Kevin. And that's dramatically different in the accuracy. You look at the traditional human rules-based approach, and you're going to be right about half the time. You look at a data science machine learning, you're going to push accuracy that approaches 95%. And you're going to reduce fraud from where an average entity might have 100 basis points of fraud down to 10 or 20%. And what we say is, in all cases where you compare our machine learning fraud, third-party fraud capture capability, we're going to be at least 50% better than any incumbent human rules-based solution.
Wow.
And that's why they're investing.
So let's talk about a couple of different industries. So I'm in retail. What's the value proposition?
The value proposition is simple. Ever go to a retailer and at checkout they ask you, they say, would you like to get 20% off your purchase today by signing up for our credit card?
Yes.
And you give them a number of data elements, they key them in the system, they hit enter. Within 800 milliseconds, we return back a prediction that says, yes, this is Kevin. And you should allow him to open that credit card and immediately put that purchase on that new card.
So whatever justification they had for wanting to give you a card, you validated that, so their business model that they're trying to deliver
That you are who
works.
you say you are.
Yeah.
And there's other ways to handle it. So manual review, where they say, can you call this 800 number and answer these questions? They text you questions and they say, what was the color of the car you owned in 2005?
And that's all friction, though.
Well, it's both friction, and just as data has been stolen, your identity credentials, so has a lot of information that's out in the public realm. That sometimes a fraudster can better answer those questions. I don't remember what color my car was in 2005.
Yeah.
But a fraudster can probably look that up in the public realm, find out and answer the question more accurately than I can.
So investors, they're looking to make money. And one of the questions they always ask is, what's the size of the addressable market?
So
what's the answer?
We've sized the market in the United States alone at $4 billion, and that's through Forrester, through a number of different public, you look at the public filings of a number of the credit bureaus and the incumbents that we compete against.
Yes.
And you find that it's about $4 billion in the US and about $40 billion worldwide. That's just in opening the account. That's just the origination of the relationship, which I would argue there's no transactions that flow if you don't originate the relationship.
Yes.
So
you're not the only ones that have entered this space. What makes you guys unique?
we're the only ones we're the first, and we would argue the only, that have taken our machine learning models to the point that we can predict with accuracy that yields 20x, 30x times invested capital return from our clients. And that's measured in a very simple way. If you have 100 basis points of fraud and we take you down to 20 basis points of fraud, each fraud event has a loss. If you're a mobile phone provider and you're providing an iPhone to someone, we know what an iPhone costs. That amount times the number of events of fraud, that's your total cost. And that avoidance of cost is something we create. But also, think of the millennial, and I'm not a millennial, but in some ways I act like one. I'm on my iPhone a lot. If I fill out an application on my iPhone and they start to introduce friction by asking me KBA questions, by telling me I got to dial an 800 number, I say, I'm out of here. I'm going to go get this service from somebody that's just going to say, welcome, Tom. It's much more compelling.
So it's not only about today's addressable market, it's about the trends, where the market's going. What kind of growth is this market that you guys are entering? Well,
we've been averaging 300% year-over-year growth. So phenomenal growth, because the numbers don't lie. With our solution, you simply regression test. You look at 2 or 3 months ago's data where you figured out, hey, this was fraud and this was really Kevin. And then you run that data through our test and we show you the results. And in almost all cases, we're going to eliminate at least 50% more fraud than any solution you're using that's on the market today. And we're going to be able to auto-identify 92 to 95% of the people that apply for whatever it is you're offering the market.
Got it. So when investors say, okay, you're looking for a C round of funding, which you guys were successful in being able to raise, and the next question they ask is, what do you want to do with the money? What's the answer?
Some key things. We cut our teeth in the financial services industry, and we've already made enormous headway. 8 out of the top 10 financial institutions are either using our solution or regression testing our solution today. And they are a very hard market to penetrate. They're very, very conscious of people's PII data and making sure that it's safe and secure. But they also want to create a user experience, a consumer experience that they want to do business with that financial institution. So that's the market we're in, and we're dominating today. The markets we want to go into are healthcare here in the United States, the healthcare payer system. When you look at identity fraud and the amount of dollars that it costs the entire American consumer base, it's daunting in healthcare. It's 2-3x what it is in financial services as far as the amount of identity theft. And also the federal government and public sector more broadly in general. Whether it's Medicaid, whether it's Department of Homeland Security, others, how can we help auto-identify people in a non-obtrusive, passive way that just uses the data that is out there about you to identify you? It's the most basic interaction, the first interaction of the consumer or constituent with the identity, with the entity. Is Kevin who he says he is?
Very good. So Tom, what are the key messages you're wanting to share with the world at this point in 2019?
If you're a company that opens a relationship with a consumer or a constituent, you want to have a passive, less than a second response from the point they hit submit. You want to identify who they are, and you either want to welcome them in or push them out as fraud. And we're the only company today that with 90+% accuracy can determine who someone is when they try to enter into a relationship with you. The only company can do it. You need to work with Socure. Just test us. It's no pain if you regression test and it doesn't work, you don't implement.
So imagine you have kind of different key messages to different stakeholders in the company. You have risk management, you have marketing, you have the customer experience because they want the customer experience. So do who's your target market in a company?
We hit both, right? And we're always talking either with fraud, which is, hey, we're going to help capture people that are stealing identities. And we're going to capture them and ensure that you don't accidentally open up a relationship with someone that's going to steal from you. So always talking with the folks in risk, the folks in fraud, and making sure that they understand that they can avoid a significant tens or hundreds of millions of dollars of cost by using Socure. But we're also equally working with the customer experience team. Anyone that owns the P&L that is responsible for gaining customers, and revenue is measured by gaining consumers, stop sending them friction. Stop sending them KBA messages. Stop using manual review to have them talk to a call center. No one wants to talk to a call center to verify who they are. They'd rather do business with someone else. We will passively, behind the scenes, with a higher degree of accuracy than any product in the market, tell you who they are.
All right. Tom, thank you so much for sharing with all of us out there today.
All right.
And congratulations.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.